Respect rarely disappears all at once. Almost nobody announces the moment they stop taking you seriously. They still smile. They still reply to your messages. They still invite you into the conversation. But something changes. Your opinions begin carrying less weight. Your boundaries become easier to ignore. Your words lose their influence. And eventually, people begin treating you differently without ever explaining why. Most people assume respect is determined by status, money, intelligence, or confidence. Those things matter. But psychology suggests something deeper. People are constantly observing patterns they are not consciously aware of. How quickly you defend yourself. How easily you change your opinion to gain approval. How often you apologize when no apology is necessary. How much emotional control you actually possess. Respect is rarely based on what you say about yourself. It is built from what your behavior repeatedly communicates. And the uncomfortable reality is this. Many people lose respect long before they realize it is happening, not because someone decided to dislike them, but because they unknowingly revealed patterns that changed how other people perceive them. The frightening part is that these signals are often invisible to the person sending them, but they are rarely invisible to the people watching. Most people spend enormous amounts of energy managing impressions. They choose the right words. They attempt to appear confident. They carefully construct an image they hope other people will believe. But the human mind rarely trusts words by themselves. It trusts consistency. Behavior repeated over time becomes evidence. This is one of the reasons first impressions can change so dramatically. Someone may introduce themselves as confident, but if they constantly seek reassurance, avoid disagreement, change their opinions depending on who is listening, the brain quietly updates its judgment. Not because the person admitted insecurity, because their behavior communicated it. Psychologists often describe this as thin slicing. Without consciously realizing it, people make surprisingly accurate judgments from repeated behavioral patterns. Not perfect judgments, but influential ones. Every interaction becomes another piece of evidence. This is why someone who repeatedly breaks promises eventually becomes viewed as unreliable. Someone who constantly exaggerates becomes difficult to believe. Someone who always seeks validation becomes psychologically predictable. Respect does not collapse because of one mistake. It erodes through repetition. The image you intentionally project matters far less than the patterns you unconsciously repeat. People listen to your actions long before they trust your words. One of the fastest ways respect quietly disappears is through excessive approval seeking. This does not always look obvious. It often hides behind politeness, over-explaining, constant agreement, the inability to disappoint anyone. At first glance, these behaviors appear kind, but beneath them often exists something else. Dependence. When another person's approval becomes emotionally necessary, your behavior begins revolving around their reactions. You become easier to predict, easier to influence, easier to pressure. Power shifts toward the person whose opinion matters more. Social psychology has repeatedly shown that people assign greater influence to individuals who appear internally directed rather than externally controlled. The person who can calmly disagree without hostility often appears stronger than the person desperately trying to maintain harmony. Because confidence communicates independence, approval-seeking communicates uncertainty. Ironically, the more desperately someone wants to be liked, the harder it becomes for others to genuinely respect them. Respect cannot be negotiated. It emerges when people believe your behavior is guided by principles instead of permission. Disrespect creates psychological information. Most people believe the important moment is the insult itself. It is not. The important moment is your response. Some people react instantly. Their emotions take control before their judgment has time to intervene. Others suppress everything until resentment quietly accumulates. Neither response creates genuine authority. Emotionally intelligent people often recognize something different. Every reaction teaches other people how to treat you next time. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries without consequence, the brain learns. If someone discovers that criticism immediately makes you defensive, the brain learns. If someone notices guilt changes your decisions, the brain learns. Behavior that receives no resistance often becomes normalized. This does not mean becoming aggressive. It means becoming predictable in a different way. Calm, consistent, clear. People respect boundaries they believe actually exist, not because they fear punishment, Because experience has shown those boundaries remain stable regardless of pressure. Few things reveal psychological vulnerability faster than emotional impulsiveness. Every person experiences anger, embarrassment, jealousy, fear. The difference is not whether emotions exist. The difference is whether they immediately become behavior. Someone discovers exactly what makes you angry. They mention it. You react. The interaction is over before it has truly begun. Your emotional state has already been outsourced. This is why manipulative people rarely begin by controlling your actions. They begin by studying your reactions. Your triggers become instructions. Your habits become predictable. Your emotions become leverage. The less space that exists between stimulus and response, the easier you become to control. Calmness is often misunderstood as passivity. In reality, it frequently represents delayed judgment, the ability to observe before deciding. That pause changes everything, because influence decreases the moment someone else can reliably predict your emotional behavior. Attention has become one of the most valuable psychological resources in modern life, and many people give it away continuously. They chase conversations that are already finished. They repeatedly explain themselves to people determined not to understand. They pursue friendships built on one-sided effort. They seek validation from individuals who have already withdrawn it. Every pursuit communicates information. Sometimes persistence demonstrates commitment. Other times it communicates scarcity. When someone repeatedly invests emotional energy where it is not returned, observers begin asking an unconscious question. Why are they trying so hard? The person who values their own attention treats it like something limited. Not everyone receives it. Not every conflict deserves it. Not every opinion earns it. This creates an entirely different psychological impression. People naturally value what appears selective, not because selectiveness creates superiority, because it communicates self-respect. Attention becomes meaningful precisely because it is not offered indiscriminately. People often believe self-respect is an internal feeling. In reality, it becomes visible through repeated decisions. What you tolerate, what you ignore, what you refuse, what you continually accept. Someone who repeatedly sacrifices their own values for temporary acceptance teaches others exactly how much those values cost. Very little. Someone who constantly apologizes for existing gradually communicates uncertainty about their own place. Someone who continually abandons their boundaries to avoid discomfort quietly lowers their own psychological value. This is not because other people consciously decide to disrespect them. It happens because behavior creates expectations. Over time, expectations become identity. The person who consistently protects their standards rarely needs to announce them. Other people have already noticed. Respect rarely disappears through one dramatic event. It fades through hundreds of unnoticed moments. Small compromises, small reactions, small patterns repeated often enough that they become your reputation. The unsettling reality is that other people often understand your behavioral patterns before you do. They notice what pressures change your decisions, what emotions control your actions, what insecurities shape your conversations, what approval you cannot live without. You may believe you are hiding these things, but human beings have evolved to read behavior long before language. People rarely remember every sentence you spoke. They remember how predictable you became. Psychological strength is not convincing people to respect you. It is becoming the kind of person whose behavior consistently communicates stability, self-control, and self-respect without needing to announce any of it. Because the strongest signals are rarely spoken, and the deepest judgments are often made in complete silence.